season's over, postseason's over. Here I am making a video about stuff. I'm woefully ill-equipped to talk about anything going on in the off-season. Draft, free agency, salary cap, oh God, training camp. Training camp's right down the street from me, so I'll try to get to training camp. But yeah, I like watching games. That's what I know. That's what I like. And as a lot of you know, I stopped watching football closely for a long time. So there are years and years of draft stuff that I don't really know a lot about. For example, until somebody in the comments notified me, I had no idea about Chris Jones's 40 at his combine and how that went for him.
You can see how long-legged he is. He's a little stiff in the hips, but boy, is he stout again. Ooh, that hurt. Well, he's laughing.
I am unreasonably fond of Chris Jones, given that he totally fucked up our playoff run in the last minutes of that game. But I can't help it. I love that dude. It cracks me up.
I feel it. I feel it touch my leg, and I'm like, oh. I'm trying to cuff it and take the dive. You know what I mean? Because I know little kids watching. Oh my God.
Talking to all the Chiefs fans who watch this, I'm hoping you guys find a way to hold on to both him and Snead. It sounds like you might be able to figure that out. Snead might get franchise tagged. I don't really know how that works. Yeah, I don't understand how the franchise tag works, and everybody sounds like they get real pissed off when it happens. So maybe we're gonna franchise tag Daquan. I don't know what we're gonna do with that particular aspect of things. That sounds troublesome. I just find it more fun when the Chiefs give us a run for our money. We tend to step up our game in response most of the time. So this past weekend was the NFL Combine. No one's balls fell out. Very disappointing. So I sort of passively watched some of that to try and get my thoughts straight about where the Bills stand in the draft this year. We have the 28th pick, we have the 60th pick, and then we don't have anything until the 4th round when we have, I think, the 129th pick. That's not great. We've done a lot of stuff with our roster that hasn't panned out super great for us as far as kicking the can down the road. We spent a whole lot of money on people like Von Miller that have left us sort of behind the 8 ball. This is where we stand for the draft. People are mostly talking about wide receiver. Obviously, everybody wants a wide receiver. There's so many good wide receivers in this class. We'll get to it. The way Diggs was playing last year, we need, anyway, wide receiver. D-line is another place of need. Safety, we're a little shaky at safety. O-line is surprisingly set. Last year I was super stressed out about the O-line because Spencer Brown had been so shitty the year before, but this year he was fantastic. So I think O-line we're pretty good. Probably gonna shop around for a running back at some point. People are saying cornerback. I think that's dumb. Just give Rasul Douglas more money. I like him. Keep him. Give Taron Johnson a contract. There's so many things we can do with our cornerbacks when we have a specific need at safety that I wasn't looking at cornerbacks at all. Tight end, we have too many tight ends. We have 2 really good ones, and then we have Quentin Morris hanging around, who I love, but he's probably going to be gone in free agency. So I guess we probably should find another tight end. I don't know. 7th round? I don't know. Not up there on our list of concerns. Anyway, the other thing we definitely don't need is quarterbacks. Even if the Jets are kind enough to make Zach Wilson available to us. I don't know who was trying to float that as an idea, but I like that the Bills basically shut it down right away. And MILFs across Western New York breathed a sigh of relief. Side note, my sister's fiance is a longtime Jets fan, and I was just visiting them and saw on his desk a Zach Wilson action figure. I'd actually seen that was a thing and posted it on Facebook, who would buy this thing? My sister bought it for her fiance. But we've pretty much transitioned him into Bills fandom now because He's an App State. He is now officially more of a fair weather fan than I am because he bailed on the Jets. Sorry. But since quarterbacks are obviously always a hot commodity in the draft, I guess I'll talk a little bit about who's out there. Caleb Williams is almost certainly going to be the first pick. He seems like a little bit of an odd duck. He didn't participate at the combine. Only thing I really know about him is he kind of freaked out when he lost a game last season. I don't pay attention to college football, but I saw that.
It's all right to cry. Try and get the sad out.
And I also know that his dad is apparently kind of a big presence. I think he was talking a little bit about wanting franchise quarterbacks to get equity in teams, which sounds fun to me, but I really don't see it happening. And it seems like a lot of talk coming from a guy who hasn't even his son. First of all, he's not the one playing. There's a lot going on there. Hope the Bears have fun with him and Justin Fields enjoys it back in Atlanta. Caleb Williams is going to go first. I just foresee an interesting run for him in the NFL because having interesting family members always makes things more interesting.
I'm talking wop, 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 that's a wet.
Going back to what I said about not having paid attention to the draft for a really long time, I was confused as to why the Bears had the first pick as opposed to the Panthers, because I knew that even though I don't pay attention to the NFC, I knew the Bears sucked ass, but the Panthers really sucked ass. So I looked at the Panthers draft situation and it's the saddest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Holy fucking shit. They don't have a pick until the first pick in the second round because they wanted Bryce Young. That did not work out for them. That trade also used up one of the picks that they'd gotten the year before from the Niners when they traded McCaffrey, which means from trading McCaffrey, they got Bryce Young, in the end, DJ Johnson, and a 5th rounder this year. And now, yesterday, they stopped contract negotiations with Brian Burns. Last year, they apparently could have traded Brian Burns to the Rams for 2 first-round picks. And now they're sitting here with Bryce Young, DJ Johnson, no McCaffrey, potentially no Brian Burns, and no first-round draft pick. I don't know what's up with you people over in the NFC. You guys are wild. One of the craziest things about paying attention to the draft for the first time in a really long time is going back and looking and seeing what draft decisions just absolutely backfired on people over the last few years. So I'm gonna read this off the computer because I want to make sure I got this right. I just read the phrase, it cost the Jets 3 second-round picks to move from 6th pick to 3rd pick for quarterback Sam Darnold in 2018. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson say hello. Okay, back to quarterbacks. The other top quarterbacks are Drake May and Jaden Daniels. They didn't engage in any activities at the combine, so I don't give a shit about them. May will probably go to the Commanders with the number 2 pick. Daniels will probably go to the Patriots with the number 3 pick. And hopefully I will be able to continue not giving a shit about him on the Patriots, but we'll see. The best quarterback who was playing at the combine this weekend was JJ McCarthy. And so I don't have to give a shit about him either. But he was really good. Teams apparently might start trading around in the first round to try and get him. So that might at least be fun to watch as a person it doesn't really matter to. The Giants maybe could take him with the 6th pick. I don't know if they want to do that so soon after spending a lot of money on a quarterback, but I don't know. It sort of depends on what kind of tantrum Brian Daboll feels like throwing at the general manager that day. We'll see who pissed in what bowl of Cheerios that morning, whether he decides to yell about getting a quarterback. He yells a lot. I mean, I loved him as our offensive coordinator, but he yells a lot. There's also a Bo Nix and a P Nix, and I don't really know the difference between them. I just like their names. I know it's Penix, but it's Penix.
He's gonna bring that big Penix energy.
They're both probably going to be early 2nd round picks, I think, maybe late 1st round. But again, we're not shopping for a new quarterback. We might be shopping for a backup quarterback. because we have no backup quarterback right now. We're not going to spend money on Kyle Allen. The other quarterback that was getting talked about a lot at the combine was Sam Hartman, who's the guy from Notre Dame.
Being able to spin it a little bit. Sam.
Yeah, he kind of just seems like a head of hair.
I feel like I'm watching the opening of Braveheart here.
Hold.
Apparently he's the hottie quarterback this year. It's not really my take. Honestly, I like Justin Herbert's hair even better. Want to know who I think is the hot quarterback this year? Joe Milton.
Here's the question. Watching him throw, it's great.
I was reading some coverage before the combine saying maybe he would be still available in the 5th round if we decide to go shopping for a backup quarterback there. But he played so well in the combine, I think we're probably shit out of luck and he'll be gone before then. I don't know, girl can dream. My final thought on quarterbacks is that I hate Sean Payton, and I love that he's meeting with all the top quarterbacks because he's fucked up things so badly with Russell Wilson that they desperately need a quarterback, but their season was so weird that they ended up with this super mid pick. They're at 12, and it's really likely all the guys that he really wants will be gone by then, unless they really want to give away the farm to trade up. This is all very amusing to me. Going back to what I said before about Brian Daboll throwing tantrums, I would fucking love it if the Giants took McCarthy with the 6th pick and left Peyton having a total tantrum. I'm sorry, I do have a couple of Broncos fan friends, and so I'm sorry, but like, get a less douchey coach and then I won't root for your downfall so badly. I know all the Chiefs viewers are with me on this one. So we come to what the Bills might actually be looking for. Do we go with a defensive player? Look, I've listened to this chatter. I have really thought about it pretty hard. I understand where the gaps are that we need to fill. And I understand that the wide receiver class is really stacked, so we'd still be getting someone good probably in the 2nd round. But just, I'm so fucking tired of having this defensive-minded coach who keeps throwing money at the defense and energy at the defense and draft picks at the defense, and the defense just still keeps not stepping it up. And I don't think that's about the talent that we have on the defense. I think it has a little something to do with some of our defensive strategy and coaching. So we have a new defensive coordinator this year. McDermott will not be the defensive coordinator this year. So we'll see if that makes a difference. In the meantime, I didn't pay a lot of attention to the D-line guys that were playing at the combine because I'm not dealing with it. I'm not really entertaining the idea that we will take a tackle or an edge rusher in the 1st round with our one sad 1st round pick. The one guy I have seen a lot of talk about who I'm kind of interested in is this guy, T'Vondre Sweat. He had a phenomenal 40 for his size and position.
This simulcam right here, Rich.
But he's fat as fuck. Like, he's huge. And that's going to kind of drop his stock. So will it drop far enough that he'll get to the 60th pick and we get him there? That'd be cool. I don't know. We've got a lot of stuff going on in free agency this year, and I don't really want to get too much into free agency in this video. But if we can find a way to hang on to Daquan Jones and AJ Epinesa, I think we can just totally forget about dealing with the D-line. I think we have other options than spending our 1st round pick on a defensive player when we have this amazing quarterback and we don't have anyone for him to throw deep balls to. If we're going to lose Gabe Davis, we're going to lose Gabe Davis. And I'm fine with it because Gabe Davis hasn't been catching the deep balls. I'm hearing a lot of talk about Gabe going to the Chiefs, which, you know, have fun. You're basically just replacing MVS with Gabe at that point. Although with Gabe, you're going to get a lot more sort of locker room leadership energy. Everybody in the locker room loves Gabe. He's captain. He's great. If he can transfer that energy from the Bills to the Chiefs, you guys will be pretty well off taking him as your replacement for the guy who drops long balls except in big games. I don't know if he's cheaper than MVS. I don't know. You guys have fun with that. The other place on defense that we are in trouble is safety. Micah Hyde is almost certainly gone. I'm guessing he's probably just going to retire. I don't think he's going anywhere else. Poyer has one more year on his contract. He signed a 2-year deal last year. I thought it was possible he would opt out, retire, head off into the sunset with Micah, but I'm getting the feeling he might stick around, much to his wife's chagrin. She just wants to go to Florida. So our safety options, well, we've got Cam Lewis, but I think Cam Lewis is in free agency, so we're probably not going to re-sign Cam Lewis. We've got Siran Neal, who I don't know, but he's a special teams guy. We never do anything with him. When they brought him onto the field in the playoffs because they ran out of people in the Steelers game, I was not impressed. And then we've got DeMar. Look, I'm not mad about DeMar saying he wants to end his career with the Steelers. Obviously, like, everybody has emotional connections to teams. He grew up there. He played high school there. Tomlin knows him. He's super into the Steelers. That doesn't mean he's not committed to the Bills. He clearly is. He loves the Bills. He loves their fans. But, like, we can let DeMar go to the Steelers at this point. So then we're looking at someone in the draft at safety. So my thought is Cameron Kinchens. He looked like absolute ass at the combine, which actually works to our advantage. He looked so bad that video of his 40 promptly disappeared from the internet, but I did find this dramatic recreation. So he will probably be available at 60 given how badly he played at the combine. But I think it's a lot more likely that we do wide receiver first round, D-line second round, possibly Sweat at 60, which means we probably won't still be able to get Kinchens at 129. Tyler Nubin is the other really good safety prospect, but we would have to take him in the first round, and I think that's real stupid. Or maybe we take this Tyler Owens dude just so we can get some real cray-cray energy going in the secondary.
Nah, I don't believe in space. I'm like, I'm very religious, so I think like we're in the wrong room right now. I don't think there's like other planets and other stuff like that. I don't know.
But I'm guessing Aaron Rodgers is lobbying Joe Douglas to take him because they seem like kindred spirits, and the Jets apparently just do whatever Aaron Rodgers wants at this point. So go over there, talk about how birds don't exist or whatever. So defense draft, I don't know. This all sort of depends on what sort of shit Brandon Beane can cook up as far as contract extensions, as far as trading around draft picks. The dude's not an alchemist. He's not Rumpelstiltskin. The money has to come from somewhere. He can only do so much. So I don't know how many free agents we can keep. That makes us want to take more defensive players in the draft, but like, no. Josh needs a weapon, and he needs a cheap weapon. All you folks who were talking about the possibility of getting Mike Evans in free agency, I don't know what you were smoking, but that's done. He's gone. So let's talk about the wide receivers at the combine. This will obviously also be of interest to the Chiefs fans who are watching inexplicably because you guys watch my channel. I love you. Thank you for watching. I still want to beat the shit out of your team. And I have a feeling you guys are going to take whatever wide receiver is left 4 picks after us, if any of these guys are left. So fingers crossed in the spirit of competition yet again. So there's sort of a top tier of wide receivers. There's Marvin Harrison Jr., who did not do media at the combine, by the way, and Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze. They are all completely out of reach unless Beane does something insane. And I don't mean insanely talented, I mean insanely stupid. My guess is that Marvin Harrison will go to the Cardinals with the 4th pick. I also have a sort of sneaking suspicion that the Cardinals will take Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins, and I'm good with that. I would like Christian Wilkins to take his ball handling ability over to the NFC. So who is potentially available later in the first round? We got Adonai Mitchell. He's fast, he's big.
Boy, did he put the scare in Washington.
Or Brian Thomas Jr., who is also fast and big and totally showed out at the combine.
He is rolling.
4.34. That's rolling.
That was easy. Easy 4.34.
Before the combine, I thought he would be a really strong choice for us, but I think he might be out of reach at this point. If we have an option to get Brian Thomas Jr. or Adonai Mitchell, grab them. If we have the opportunity to take either one, if they're both available, I think that's not going to happen. But like, I'm really torn there. I think both of them would be a good fit for what we need. I used to work in human resources, and It was one of those things where we would get, for certain jobs, we would get tons and tons of applications, and you'd have sort of arbitrary lines that you would put down to rule people out right away, just because the difference between certain candidates was so negligible that you had to just come up with some stupid little thing. So we'll see if there's some stupid little thing that differentiates the two of them for me. Like if Brian Thomas Jr. pronounces mischievous, he's out. I don't want him. I'm mostly kidding. Either one is fine. I'd prefer Thomas, but either is fine. So there's Xavier Legette.
Xavier Legette.
Legette. He's a name I've been drawn to, even though I can't pronounce it, for a while. Just from chatter I was seeing on the internet from people who actually know what they're talking about, as opposed to me. And then he had a really strong performance at the combine, which, is great. I'm like, oh, I was right, this guy's good. But it also means that he's probably not going to be there where I was hoping at the 60th pick if we do decide to take a lineman in the first round. But that would be my preference. If we obnoxiously take a tackle or an edge rusher in the first round, hopefully we'll be able to get Xavier number 1 at 60. There's also Xavier number 2, Xavier Worthy. It's very confusing to me that there are 2 Xaviers, but I think I have them sort of narrowed down now because Worthy is the one who was insanely fast at the combine.
Here it goes. Oh!
He ran his 40 in 4.21 seconds. And that was after he had already run it in 4.25 seconds, and he just went back because he wasn't happy with that earlier insanely fast score. This is like how my dad made me go back and take my SATs, even though I got a 1390, because he's like, you can do better than that. Who cares? Apparently Xavier Worthy cares. And it's the same sort of energy you get from Roma Dunze, who went back and kept trying to do the 3-cone drill over and over again to beat the time that he'd set for himself, and he just couldn't do it. He couldn't stop kicking over the corner cone.
Telling him, you have a time already. You can take that time. He won't accept it. It's this corner cone. This is incredible.
Yeah. But these guys are trying to prove that they've got hustle. I'm impressed. I did add 100 points to my SAT score. But as far as Xavier number 2 goes, he's super fast, but he's also super tiny. He weighs 165 pounds. I weigh more than 165 pounds. I am not an NFL player. I want a big dude for our number 2. I want somebody who's big, strong, out there. He doesn't need to be the fastest. He just needs to run good, clean routes and be able to stop on a dime. I don't want Worthy. The Chiefs can have Worthy. I might regret that statement. So there's also Keon Coleman. He looked like ass on his 40. Super slow. Slow as hell on his 40, but then insanely fast on the gauntlet.
Speed. Sprinting down this gauntlet. Almost top it. There he is. Well, you can see it.
People seem really invested in the 40 times, so maybe that'll knock him down the list of prospects from where he originally would have been, or the gauntlet will balance it. I don't know. I don't really know what to think about this guy, where he's going to end up. He's a real question mark for me. Then there's Ladd McConkey, who also had a really amazing gauntlet.
This is McConkey. How about McConkey? We were looking this up.
I'm seeing a lot of people say that he's more of a slot receiver, which is not something that the Bills need because we have Khalil Shakir.
That was Khalil Shakir! Woo!
But I'm seeing other people pushing back against that, saying they've watched a lot of tape. He lines up all over the field. I don't know. This is, again, one of those things where maybe next year I'll watch college football, so I'll know more about this for the draft next year. But in the meantime, I really don't know what to think about this guy as an option and where he would fit our scheme and our needs. Then there's Troy Franklin, who got pushed around like crazy on the gauntlet.
18 miles per hour, he got up over 20. You see Franklin, a little more weave to him where you can really see it with the...
Those balls are making him fly backwards. Pass. Also, there's apparently another McCaffrey. I did not know this.
That's one big ball of McCaffrey.
I can't tell
Luke's
difference.
Pulling away. Oh, boy.
Little brother's got bragging rights.
He's kind of whatever. Maybe we'll take him if he's hanging around in the 5th round. I kind of doubt it. We have 2 picks in the 5th round. I'm hopeful we'll still get a chance to get Joe Milton's pretty face on our roster in the 5th round. Probably not. And then we're definitely going to try and get a running back in there somewhere. They seem to be talking to a lot of running backs. So those are my thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. I'm probably wrong about everything, much like I was with NFL honors, but it's fun. It's the first time I've really paid attention to this stuff. If I'm wrong this year, I'll learn some lessons. I'll do better next year. It's a process. I will probably be making a video about free agency once that all sort of settles down. And then I will definitely be making a video about the draft itself. So content's gonna be few and far between as far as videos go for a while, but that's just sort of a natural outgrowth of it not being the football season anymore. But thank you guys for watching anyway, and I will be back with another video when I come up with another idea for something to run my mouth about. Go Bills.